So here I am talking to my very good friend Bazlur Rahman in Bangladesh. Good morning to you from the UK and good afternoon to you there in Dhaka. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. And I think everything is going well in your side. And please convey our best regards to your colleague and also best regards Bangladesh to UK people.
Yes, absolutely. I was talking to a group of young ladies from Bangladesh last week who are here with an organisation in Leicester looking to improve their English. So we were chatting about yourself and how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So tell me, how was World Radio Day for you on Saturday? Were you very busy?
Yes, so basically, normally in Bangladesh, we have a very unique format regarding to observe the World Radio Day. I am pleased to inform you that basically we starting observing the World Radio Day from 2012. And we basically lobby with Bangladesh government so that from the government side, now every year, Ministry of Information basically initiating to observe the World Radio Day along with government broadcaster as well as private broadcaster and as well as community broadcaster. So now earlier basically our organization Bangladesh NGOs Network for Radio and Communication and Bangladesh Betar, basically we observe this, but nowadays successfully we transform this day to the government agenda. So now every February 13th, Bangladesh Ministry of Information are taking the initiative to observe the World Radio Day along with private and as well as community group.
Okay, so you basically made the initial inroads yourself in 2012, and then you kind of transitioned into, rather than you talking about it every year, they take a lead on it as well. I mean, that's quite innovative, really, isn't it? The fact that it's being led by the government and stuff. And does it make it easier for you to then lobby and advocate for the role of community radio for bringing messages to the people, particularly, like, say, for example, in the pandemic?
Yes, during the pandemic, basically, I have the pleasure to inform you that in March, during the March of the first week of March, we set a 3 objective to address the COVID broadcasting situation along with the community people. One objective was animate civil society organization and as well as local government and also health services of the local level and also health service provider of the rural communities and communities for reinforcing collective action in pre and during COVID-19. So this is our first objective. Second objective was response for receiving, keeping for community people's daily life normal and livelihood functional. So this is this was our second objective. Third one was mobilize further cooperation among government, civil society organization, local market, and communities. Response in line with the SDG 16 and as well as SDG 10. You know, SDG 16 is right to information is there, and SDG 10 is disparity. A disadvantaged community, so that disadvantaged community always the backbencher of the government services. But this is the first time government influence disadvantaged community. How it also.
You froze for a moment there, Bazlur, but I was picking up on what you were saying there about the government has been much more, again, proactive with these initiatives as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you were mentioning SDGs there as well, number 16 and also number 10, I think.
10.
Yeah, number 10. I mean, you've always been a great advocate for the Sustainable Development Goals. You know, even from the early days of the Millennium Development Goals, which some people may or may not remember. I think that's probably how we first became connected. I think it was back in the days when I was doing Citizens Eye, when we were talking Millennium Development Goals. And again, it's on your backdrop there on the film, all of the SDGs there together. Does something like that make your work slightly easier because you've got something to hook your work into or onto that is also globally accepted?
Yeah. I miss your last pick, basically.
Okay, no problem. So the SDGs, because the SDGs are a global initiative, does it make it easier for you to lobby for your services as the NGO for community radio groups in Bangladesh, because you've got something to hook onto that is internationally recognized when you're talking to the government?
Okay, basically from the beginning, we Bangladesh is one of the very fortunate country because the Bangladesh government harmonized SDG issue with our 7th 5-year plan. So all SDG goal now under the part of Bangladesh government 7th 5-year plan document. And as well as in Bangladesh, lots of civil society organization and also community radio localization the SDG agenda. So we call localization SDG at the grassroots level. And side by side, local administration also harmonize with their program with the SDG agenda. So this is a very good planning and as well as very good implementation from top to bottom like this.
Now, I know you've always had support from the Bangladesh government. You said the Ministry of Information, they've always been very supportive and stuff. When the pandemic came along, has it enabled you to have conversations where you can look to unlock more resources, whether that's funding or anything like that, for community radio across Bangladesh, the value of it?
Yeah, thank you very much. So basically, during the pandemic time, the government has 3 times meeting with the community radio broadcasting regarding the content and what is the problem and other thing. But we do not receive any financial support from the government side, but we received financial support some development partners, not a government side. But government side always provide the local government support, and government side also provided the enabling environment, and as well as government provided uses also community radio for disseminating the message and also participating the local community like this. But we do not receive any monetary matter from the government side.
Okay, so it's rather than money, it's other forms of support, even if it's using the platform in order to disseminate that information.
Yeah. And local government, not a central government, some of the community radio partnering with the local government for the resource mobilization, say like the campaign, say like the pandemic time messages like this. Some local government also partnering with community radio.
So let me take you back to the very beginning. How did you first become involved in community radio? Because I've never asked you this question.
It's a very important thing. Basically, I come from one of the biggest island called Bhola Island. It's the biggest island of Bangladesh, surrounded by Bay of Bengal. You know, in Bangladesh side, we are based in the Bay of Bengal. So my island also surrounded by Bay of Bengal. So this is the 90s, history of the 90s, basically 90s time, when basically we received from the Bhola Island, we received lots of cyclone, tornado like this. So when we attacked by the cyclone or tornado, immediately 3 days we disconnected from the Bangladesh and also world. So at that time, no telecommunication, that time no mobile like this. So basically we started searching regarding our alternative way, how community people connect, how community people voices to the alternative media like this. So that time media liberalization not happen in Bangladesh. So that we started this movement basically. Our one of the slogan was voices for the voiceless and as well as voices to be heard like this. Then we started our policy advocacy with the Bangladesh government. And after almost 10 years, after 10 years persuasion with the government, then government declared the policy, first policy, community radio 2008 basically.
Okay. So were you also working in a local radio station?
Yes, that time Bola Island there is no local radio.
Okay.
only national newspaper we received 1 day after, not a same day. We received national newspaper 1 day after.
When you talk to local activists now that want to be involved in community radio or to start a new community radio station where they are, maybe they don't have one and stuff like that, do you enjoy that? Does that remind you of the early days of when you first became involved in the campaign to set up the NGO?
Yeah. Now I very much enjoy this thing because now 1,000 youth and youth women basically working these 20 radio station as a rural broadcaster. When I see them, I feel so proud. This is my dream, and now this dream become a reality. Now 1,000 rural youth and youth women working with the community radio as a rural broadcasters, and along with 4,000 participation. Basically now they are producing 180 hours program per day. So
wow.
When they produce 180-hour program, then immediately they need participation of the local community. At least every day 4,000 rural community basically giving voice to the community radio station. This is the very strong participation from the community side.
Yeah, I mean, it's an excellent model, isn't it, as well? There's a lot to be learned, I think, through the sharing of what you do. Now, I know you're very proactive globally, aren't you, in talking to other organizations, and particularly the United Nations, about the role that community radio can play in, as you said, giving a voice to the voiceless, or voices to be heard. I mean, the campaigning side of it, how much of that of your time does that take up?
Yeah. Campaigning is one of the good area. So nowadays, still now one campaign is going on. We call vaccine education. So during the COVID time, our community are facing receive lots of misinformation, disinformation, and as well as malinformation. So according to their need, we develop one program called vaccine education and counter misinformation, disinformation, and as well as malinformation. So objective was raise awareness and create demand about the importance immunization and the government response to the immunization program. So this is one of the objective of the campaign. Second objective was facilitate the lives and livelihood of the people by providing information to identify misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation about the vaccination and prevent the spread of common information like this. Third one is broadcast to ensure inclusive of the Dalits and disadvantaged group. This is the SDG 10 issue. So that say sweeper community, disadvantaged community, blacksmith community, fishermen, transgender people, persons with disability, and other marginalized community at risk inclusion in the vaccination program. So that due to this campaign, local government now emphasize this type of community.
Yeah, so it's about bringing almost the awareness as well of who your participants are, who your listeners are, the groups that are you're able to share information with and about. You're bringing them to the attention of the national government as well, and local government. Because that's good. One final thing that I'd like to ask you about, Bazlur, as well, is do you have specific education programs that you go into school, or do you work with your local community radio station members to, you know, the value of going into schools and talking to young people, not only for having their own shows and stuff, but sharing information and finding out what's going on?
Okay. During the COVID time, still Bangladeshi school, college, and religious institutions are now closed. But we immediately started one program called School on the Air. Program name is School on the Air. So one guardian, one student, and also one teacher, any specific subject, they broadcast the educational program from the studio. So like the subject is the mathematics. So our local radio station invite one mathematics teacher as well as one student and also one guardian to the studio. And they broadcast the mathematics subject through radio like this. Still this program is going on, apart from the campaign or providing information like this.
Yeah, it's great when you hear about how infrastructure that's there and people have come up with ways of being able to deal with it. I was talking to a colleague of mine who works in Haiti, and they support a school there in Haiti, and the head teacher went to the local radio station and just said, look, you know, let me do some lessons. And then children that were other schools were participating in those lessons as well. I think sort of the communities coming together, I think one of the positive aspects of the pandemic is going to be people have reimagined what kind of opportunities there are and who they should be working with.
It's created a very good linkage between student and also radio station, as well as guardian radio station, and also teachers community radio station like this.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to reach over to my shelf because I need to pull something off of my shelf for you.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the young lady Farida Kanom. She was I supervised her for her masters last year at De Montfort University, and this is her dissertation. So we printed it off. I printed it off for her.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and
congratulations to you.
And it's now in the Bangladesh section here for Parallel Lives. And it's the role of community radio in ensuring marginal people's participation in development. So I'll be sending you a copy of that and sharing that with you.
Yeah, it would be very nice. It would be very nice because marginalized community basically. I have the pleasure to inform you that say you normally heard that Dalits community. You heard the Dalits community disadvantaged, untouched people. So in Bangladesh we have 7 million untouched people live in Bangladesh. So, but we provided the fellowship to the Dalits girl, disadvantaged girl, say like a shoemaker, sweeper, as well as cobblers, and also barbers. You know the barbers. So they are girl. They have a girl. So we provided the fellowship to these specific communities for 4-month fellowship. So this is the 4-month fellowship. We provided very token money, but they have a very specific 3 objectives. One objective is to know how to run radio station. What is the radio literacy? Radio literacy like how to edit, how to develop a script, how to run a mixer machine, that is like this, how to sound editing like this. So our radio station provided this type of skill to this specific youth women. Second area was presenting the news of their own community. Say one youth women come from the barber community. So they develop a news regarding the barber situation, barber community situation. What is their problem? What is their challenges? how way out to cover up this like this. And then we provided the journalistic jacket to the youth women and go to the local authority and ask them for the governmental safety net, because in Bangladesh we have a lots of safety net, lots of support from the government side for the disadvantaged community, so that youth women basically go to the local authority and also gaining and receiving some government facilities immediately. So that way, basically, disadvantaged community benefited from the community radio side.
Yes, you're providing a support network as well, isn't it? An ability to not only communicate and find out information, but actually to communicate about your own community to people as well that are, like you said, see you as untouchable or right down at the bottom. So did you say 7 million?
7 million.
Yeah. 7 million people. That's incredible, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, we're in 2021, and I'm sure both of you and I are young enough to make it to 2030 to see these Sustainable Development Goals come to fruition. So let's stay positive, shall we? What do you think some of the challenges are going to be between now and 2030? But what role do you think community radio can play in those, not only in Bangladesh but also globally?
Yeah, regarding the community media, I would like to say like this way. Say, regarding the community radio in the era of fourth industrial revolution, say community radio decreasing their listenership also day by day. It is only audio feed not enough for the community. Now community people demand the visual feed also.
Yeah.
So earlier our Bangladeshi community people listen the radio through radio receiver set. Now they are listening radio through mobile phone, mobile set. So this is a huge shifting from the community side, community people side. And on the other way, community radio also need to start visual radio. Same time using the spectrum, and at the same time using the social media, so like Facebook broadcasting, YouTube broadcasting like this, and also web broadcasting is very important. Then our radio will identify the real listeners as well as develop a profile, and as well as attract the more advertisement, because nowadays our most of the advertisement basically going to the Google, Facebook, and also other social media, YouTube also. So this is a huge challenge also community media are facing in Bangladesh. So now Bangladeshi community radio on the way to shifting themselves to more using the social media as well as more using the digital platform.
So you're going to have to adapt the way that you operate from that traditional community radio of the audio feed, where people were listening through radio sets, through to, because everyone's now using smartphone technology, you're going to have to get into not only audio but also visual feeds, and then looking at other platforms of using as well. It's really interesting, isn't it? So how you're having to adapt the service to fit with the way that people are engaging and listening.
It is not easy. It is easy for us, because we have a 1,000 youth and youth women broadcasters. So now we started the reskilling, upskilling, and as well as de-skilling process of the broadcasters, because earlier they only broadcast their program through audio. Now they need a visual feed. They need infographics, text, as well as creating a listener's profile, and as well as advertisement demand, and as well as other fulfill the other demand like this. So it is not an easy thing for us.
My colleague and I, Rob Watson, ran a day on Saturday during World Radio Day, talking to various people about community radio around the world. So we spoke to someone in India, Ghana, some people in that were talking about Australia and America, and also sort of European countries and the UK. And it was really interesting to listen to some community radio stations from the UK that had really struggled or not been contacted by the local authorities, whereas others were contacted immediately, one before the pandemic lockdowns were announced, to say, look, you're going to be really important and really helpful to us and critical to get these messages out to people about you know, what's going to be happening. And I think, you know, you should be really proud. I don't know whether you take time to be proud of what you've managed to achieve there, because, you know, the size of your country and also the people that you get to be radio presenters, that, you know, the people at the very bottom, the people that have no voice, you know what I mean? It's incredible.
Yes.
And, you know, it's a real privilege to talk to you and
yes,
be inspired by the work you do.
Yes, it is our daily life, daily life struggle. And side by side, now we emphasize the program should be given on science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, STEAM.
Yeah.
STEAM with the participation of the community people through multi-generation reach and multimedia presence. This is SDG 4 commitment to our radio station. Earlier, we harmonized with the SDG. Now we harmonize with, on the way to harmonize with the STEAM methodologies regarding our program content like this.
Yeah.
And as well as we included there some things, say like e-government. What is the e-government? How e-government is working at your local area, say like this. This is called e-government. E-business, we have already harmonized with the e-commerce association, so that our people can habituate it with the e-commerce matter, as well as e-learning, massive open online course. We emphasize to our broadcasters, please enroll yourself with the MOOC, so that massive open online course give you lots of new idea, new thing. E-health also, you know, the very important during the COVID time. E-employment, and as well as e-environment and e-agriculture. So these two things basically now we incorporate our content.
So vital. It plays such a vital role, community radio, and like you said, that community radio and television, to be able to do all of those services when great distances are involved as well, and new development and new technologies.
Yeah.
Bazlur, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. I do appreciate it.
Now, thank you very much. It is my great pleasure. And I am again to express my sorry to you for the inconvenience regarding the time.
That's fine. No problem at all.
And again, please convey my best regards to your family members as well as staff members.
Yeah.
And when COVID will normalize, then very heartiest welcome to visit Dhaka, Bangladesh, and to see our some of activities.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon. Stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you very much. See you again.
Take
Okay,
care.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.